Yo, what's up with y'all boys, man? Hey, it's Jay Briggs here from Pickdawgz.com, and I'm bringing y'all my NBA Jam session for October 26th, 2022. If you're looking for more of this great content, man, y'all know what to do. Smash that like button, subscribe if you're new, and drop your like down in the comments, man. I love going through, seeing how y'all like as well. And if you're looking for my best bets, though, as well as the best bets from the top handicappers in the world today, check us out over at Pickdawgz.com. Click that premium picks tab, and that's where you'll find best bets from the best handicappers on the planet. We got a huge card in the NBA tonight. I think there's a few traps. I think there's some spots to make some money and some spots for us to attack tonight. So, tricky card tonight. I'm finna walk y'all through it though. So, without further ado, man, let's hop into tonight's schedule. First game on the board, man, we got the Cleveland Cavaliers laying 8 against the Orlando Magic, total 218. And I'm on the Cleveland Cavaliers here in this one. I'm gonna lay the 8. Y'all know I've been on this Orlando Magic team a lot here in the early season, and what I've come to find out is this Orlando team, man, they typically end it in the first half. Sometimes they're even leading it in the first half. They look really good in the first half, and then in the second half they tend to fall apart. The other team seems to figure them out and take a lead and don't give it back. And mainly what I think that is typically what we see a lot in the NBA. The first half is more of a filling out process of each team. Not a lot of intense defense being played, especially early in the season. A lot of open jump shots, easier layups. In the third and fourth quarter, a lot of those shots that we've seen falling in the first quarter really aren't getting in the second half. The defensive intensity picks up. And usually when that happens, man, this young Orlando Magic team just doesn't seem to have the sets to get in to be effective and get stops and buckets. And they just don't usually seem to have the experience to do so either. I know this Cleveland team is young too, on the other hand, but their guys have experience in the NBA. Evan Mobley in his second year, Jared Allen a few years in the league. Donovan Mitchell, he's a young, but he's a veteran in this league as well. I look for this Cleveland team to take care of this Orlando Magic team here at home. And, yeah, that's what I like here in this one. In our next matchup, man, we got the Atlanta Hawks facing the Detroit Pistons. Atlanta laying 7 on the road, total 229. And let me tell y'all something. This Atlanta Hawks team is two different teams. They're night and they're day. At home, they're a bet-on team, man. I love taking the Hawks at home. I really don't care who they play at home. They're usually a good bet to take them, and they usually lay the points and they play really well at home. But on the road, that's a totally different thing. They usually don't even cover the spread on the road. Sometimes, even against inferior opponents like tonight, sometimes they lose outright. I don't think that's the case here tonight, though. I think they do get the win. But I'm going to take my points with the home dog, man. I'm going to take the points with the Detroit Pistons. I think they have enough to keep it close. Also, I go back and look at their schedule, man. The Detroit Pistons have lost their last 3 games. They lost to the Washington Wizards in their last one, 120-99. They lost to the Pacers in the game before that by 9. And they lost 130-106 to the Knicks in the game before that. And then their season opener, they did get a win. This is still an NBA team. I look for them to bounce back here tonight. Keep this game closer. I don't think they win, but I think they fight harder than what they've shown in front of their home crowd. And I'm going to take the points with the Detroit Pistons. Atlanta, they're going to have their time, but I don't look to be taking Atlanta, and especially not laying points like 7 with them on the road. So give me Detroit here in this matchup. In our next game of the night, man, we got the Charlotte Hornets on the road. The New York Knicks laying 7.5, total 219. And in this matchup, I'm on the Knicks, man. I'm going to lay the points. This Knicks team, they've done about what you expected them to do in the early beginning of their season. They come in 2-1. They lost to a better team in the Memphis Grizzlies, but they did take them to overtime. And they lost 115-112. I mean, 112. They lost 115-112. And then in their next 2 matchups, they played the Detroit Pistons. They beat them 130-106, so beat an inferior opponent pretty handedly. And they beat the Orlando Magic in their last one, 115-102. So they covered their spread in that one as well. I look for them to cover the spread here in this one too against an inferior opponent. I put this Charlotte Hornets about in that same bucket as the Pistons and the Magic. Although they are better than both of them teams, they're around that same, especially without their best player, LaMelo Ball. He's out again tonight. Charlotte has played above their means to begin the season. We've seen them with a nice win over their Atlanta Hawks in their last one, 126-109. They lost to the Pelicans, 124-112. And they beat up on San Antonio Spurs, 129-102. I think this is a step up in class. We've seen them when they played a good team, and then the New Orleans Pelicans, they lost. I've told you I think this Knicks team is going to be more of the Knicks team from 2 years ago. I'm going to lay the points here with the New York Knicks. I think they got enough to take care of this Charlotte Hornets team. In our next matchup, man, we got the Philadelphia 76ers against the Toronto Raptors. I'm going to lay the points here with Philadelphia. I just think Philadelphia is the better team. We've seen them get a win in their last matchup. I know I told y'all in the last one I'm not in a rush to bet Philadelphia anymore moving forward, but they did handle a weak Indiana team in their last one. Here in this one, we're not laying a lot of lumber. We're only laying a point. I do think they're the better team. This is not my favorite game on the board, but I do think Philadelphia finds a way to win it. 1-3 to begin their season. I think they're better than that. They're still my pick to come out of the East, and I think these are games that you just got to have. Like I said, I think they take care of this Raptors team. Although this Raptors team has been hooping to begin their season, they've been about what you thought they would be. They beat the Heat in their last matchup on the road. The game before that, they lost to the Heat, so they split with the Heat. They lost to Brooklyn, and they beat a good Cleveland team. So this Toronto Raptors team has been competitive this season, has been a good team, but I just think tonight, here in this one, they just lose to a better team in Philadelphia. And at a line like this, I'm going to take Philadelphia, and I'm going to lay the point. I wouldn't blame y'all, though, if y'all took Philly on the money line. In our next matchup, man, and probably the game of the night, we got the Brooklyn Nets on the road facing the Milwaukee Bucks. Milwaukee laying 4, total 223.5, total 233.5. Can't talk right now, man. Sheesh. Anyways, in this matchup, man, we got Milwaukee coming in 2-0. Interesting game, man. Probably the game of the night. We seen Milwaukee put it on Houston in their last one, 125-105, and they beat Philly in their season opener on the road, 90-88. Milwaukee has looked about what you thought they would be. They beat a good Philly team and smashed an inferior opponent in the Rockets. Here in this one now, I think that I just think they're going to be missing Chris Middleton. I think this is the game where it shows. Giannis is the best player in the world, man, but you can't win them all by yourself. I know, man. I said I'm going to be trying to fade the Nets early and often this season, but I just think this is a good spot for them. And honestly, I think the Nets went in on the money line, but I'm going to take the 4 points in my back pocket. I think we see a nice game from KD. I think we see a nice game from Kyrie. I think this is going to be their early statement win of the season. So I like Brooklyn to win it, but I'm going to take the 4 points here with the Nets in the game of the night. Give me the Nets plus the 4. In our next matchup, man, we got the Chicago Bulls at home laying 8 on the Indiana Pacers. Total 233. Here in this one, man, I'm looking at the total. I'm going to take the over here in this game. We've seen both of these teams really not look interested in playing defense. We've seen both of these teams put up some scoring and allow some scoring on them. So let's go look at their last few games. Indiana, they lost in their last game to Philly. Philly put up 120. They had 106. The game before that, they beat the Detroit Pistons. The Pistons had 115, but they put up 124. The game before that, they lost to the San Antonio Spurs. San Antonio put up 137. They put up 134 in that one. And in the game before that, they lost to Washington. Washington put up 104, and they put up 107. So basically, in all 4 of their games, if one of the teams scores what has been scored in this game, we only would need 100 points from the other team to get over the total. And I think that we see that here tonight. We're going to look at what the Bulls have done in their last one. They put up 120 on a good Boston team. They won that one 102 to 120. They won. In the game before that, they lost to Cleveland 128. 96. So Cleveland put up 128. The game before that, it was 102-100, which is probably the only low-scoring game that we've seen. And the game before that was 116-108. So it's pretty much the same thing I said. If in 3 or 4 of the games, if they get to what one of the teams got to in that game, we would only need 100 points from the other team. And I think we see that. I think we see some scoring in this one. Like I said in the beginning of this one, I don't think both teams are interested in playing defense. I think both teams' main focus is just putting the ball in the basket. I think we get over the 233 in this one. So take the over. In our next matchup, man, we got the San Antonio Spurs against the Minnesota Timberwolves. I'm going to keep this one short and sweet. Take San Antonio Spurs plus the 9. I'm not laying points with this Minnesota team. I just think that they're overrated. I think that the trade to acquire Rudy Gobert was one of the worst trades in NBA history, and it's probably the worst trade of my lifetime. Rudy Gobert, although he's a defensive player of the year, he's an all-star. He's just not that guy. I don't think he's a mover needle. I don't think he moved the needle for this Timberwolves team at all. I think that they're the same team from last year. And if they ran it back with Rudy Gobert last year, I still think they lost in that playoff series from last year. That's just how I see it. And that's just how I see them this season. We just seen the Spurs team beat them the other night. I wouldn't be shocked if the Spurs beat them again. But I'm going to take the 9 points here with them in my back pocket. Not my favorite game on the board, but I'm not laying points with Minnesota. I don't plan on doing it at all most of this season. So give me San Antonio here plus the points. In our next matchup, man, we got the Utah Jazz at home versus the Houston Rockets. I got the wrong number up here. Utah laying 6. I'm going to lay the 6 with the Jazz. I know we just seen this matchup the other night with the Houston getting on the Utah Jazz, giving them their first loss of the season. That game was in Houston. This game here, back in Utah. As I've been saying to begin the season, man, I got to keep upgrading this Utah team, man. To begin their season, I got to go back and look. They beat Denver 123-102. A good Denver team. A Denver team that a lot of people got finishing top 4 or 5 in the West. They beat the Minnesota Timberwolves, which a lot of people are high on. As y'all heard in the last segment, I'm not. And they beat a really good Pelicans team that had their pieces in that game. They took them to overtime and they beat them. They did lose to the Rockets in their last one, but it was just a bad spot against the Rockets on the road. Here at home, I think they take care of the Rockets, and I think they lay the points. So I'm going to take the Jazz, and I'm going to lay the 6 here in this one. In our next matchup, man, we got the Denver Nuggets laying 6 at home against the Los Angeles Lakers. And then here in this one, man, I know it's going to be surprising, but I'm taking the Lakers plus the 6. And honestly, I would sprinkle a little bit on the money line. Lakers are going to be bad this season, but they're not going to be this bad. No, I just don't see the Lakers starting off their season 0-4, although it's very plausible. But I'm just a LeBron James fan, man. I'm probably his number 1 fan. And I think that the GOAT finds a way to win it here in this one tonight. This Denver team, it's not like this Denver team has been all that impressive to begin their season. In their last game, they got blown out by Portland, 135-110. We just seen the Lakers in their last one. They should have beat that Portland team, although they lost 106-104. If y'all watched that game, y'all know they were up late. Russell Westbrook happened at the end of that game. It's about time the Lakers address that, man. It's really about that time. But we've seen Denver. They barely beat the Thunder Buddies, 122-117. We saw them in their best game of the season beat the defending champs Golden State Warriors. But in their season opener, they got blown out by the Jazz. So this Denver team hasn't been impressive at all this season. They've been mediocre at best. And I think this is a spot where the Lakers could easily get their first win of the season. I'm going to take the Lakers plus the 6 in this one, and I'm going to sprinkle a little bit on the Lakers on the money line. In our last game of the night, man, in a good game, we got the Miami Heat on the road facing the Portland Trailblazers. Portland laying 1, total 222. Portland comes into this game undefeated, man, and if I'm not mistaken, they might be one of the few undefeated teams in the league. I got to go back and slide through. I think Milwaukee's still undefeated. There might be a few, but I don't think they have as many games played as this Portland team. It's going to be their 5th game. Although they're undefeated, I think they lose here, and I think they lose their first game of the season. I'm going to take Miami to bounce back from the loss to the Raptors. Miami comes into this game 1-3. They played the Raptors in back-to-back games, then they split. And then we seen them lose to Boston and lose to Chicago in the 2 games before that one. I just think this is a spot where they get on this Portland team. I think they'll be more physical with this Portland team. I think they're a more physical team. Portland is good. They have looked good this season, but I just think they've been playing a little bit above their means. I think that I do have them as a playoff team, not a play-in team this season. I do think as long as Damian Lillard stays healthy, they're going to be a viable team in the West. The West is stacked this year, so it's going to be an interesting season over there. But I just like Miami here in this one. I think they have enough to pull out the win here in this one. But if you're looking for my best bets as well as the best bets from the top handicappers in the world today, check us out over at pickdawgz.com. Click the premium picks tab, and that's where you'll find best bets from the top handicappers on the planet. It's been your boy Jay Briggs, man. I'm bringing y'all my NBA Jam session for October 26, 2022. I still can't talk at the end of the video. But anyways, man, drop what y'all like down in the comments, man. It's been your boy Jay Briggs, and I'm going to holler at y'all tomorrow, man. Let's make some money tonight. I'm out. Peace.